things descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful manner.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honourable members, as you may recall, on 23rd of April 2019 and 1st of August 2019, I conveyed to the House messages from the Senate regarding the passage of the County Government's Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 13 of 2018, and the National Cohesion and Peace Building Bill, Senate Bill number 35 of 2018. Following the first reading of the said bills, I did undertake to pronounce my opinion with respect to money bill effects of the said bills pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 143, Clause 2, which provides as follows. Following first reading, Speaker shall within reasonable time pronounce his or her opinion contemplated under Article 114, Clause 2 of the Constitution, close the quotes. I made a determination that the two bills do not fall within the meaning of money bills, and therefore they may proceed for second reading in the same manner as a bill originating in the National Assembly as provided for under Standing Order 143, subsection 3. Honorable members, the County Government's Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 13 of 2018, shall stand referred to the Departmental Committee on Administration and National Security for consideration, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 127, subsection 1, paragraph A, which states, a bill having been read a first time shall stand committed to the relevant Departmental Committee without question put. On the other hand, Standing Order 127, subsection 6A, provides, and I quote, despite paragraph 1, the Speaker may direct that a particular bill be committed to such committee as the Speaker may determine, close the quotes. Honourable members, therefore, in accordance with the provision of Standing Order number, this Standing Order, I hereby refer the National Cohesion and Peace Building Bill, Senate Bill number 35 of 2018, to the Select Committee on National Cohesion and Equal Opportunity, given the mandate of the committee as provided for under Standing Order number 212 and the proposals contained in the bill. I thank you.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
The Chair, Departmental Committee on Sports, Culture and Tourism. Yes, Honorable Corey.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, November 14, 2019. Report of the Departmental Committee on Sports, Culture and Tourism on its consideration of the Gaming Bill 2019. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, statements and questions.
First question by the member for Loima. Member for Loima. Jeremiah Ramokurai. Ramorukai.
Honorable Speaker, I arise to ask question number 489 of 2019 to be directed to the Cabinet Secretary for Lands and Fiscal Planning. Question 1, could the Cabinet Secretary confirm whether land in Turkana County has been demarcated, surveyed, or subdivided for purposes of settling the residents, including demarcating trust land and changing of land ownership from customary tenure to individual or group ownership? Question number 2, could the Cabinet Secretary also provide a list of persons and entities that have been issued with title deeds in the entire Turkana County? Question number 3, what measures is the ministry putting in place to ensure the residents of Turkana County have access to the services of the Ministry of Lands? Question number 4, when will the Cabinet Secretary issue the title deeds to residents of Turkana County? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Question referred to the Departmental Committee on Lands. Next question by the member for Baringo. Baringo Central.
Thank you,
Kadir.
Honorable Speaker. I rise to ask question number 493 of 2019. And this question goes to the Cabinet Secretary for Transport, Infrastructure, Housing, and Urban Development. 1, are there plans by the ministry to construct Kasoyo Tenges Road in Baringo Central Sub-County, which is in deplorable state? 2, what measures has the ministry put in place to ensure that Kasoyo Tenges Road in Baringo Sub-County is repaired and maintained, including putting water drainage in place, and by when will this be concluded? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I suppose you meant deplorable condition.
Yes.
Very well. Question referred to the Departmental Committee on Transport, Public Works and Housing. Next question by the member for Bungoma County, the Honorable Catherine Wabilianga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise to ask question number 494 of 2019. And this question goes to the Cabinet Secretary for Transport, Infrastructure, Housing, and Urban Development. Question number 1, what plans has the ministry put in place to construct the Brigadier Naitiri Misihu Road in Bungoma County, which is in a deplorable state? Question number 2, when is the construction of the said road expected to commence? And what is the time frame for the completion of this same road? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Question referred to the Departmental Committee on Transport, Public Works and Housing also. Final question by the member for Roysambu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to ask question number 495 of 2019 directed to the Cabinet Secretary for Lands and Physical Planning. The first question, Mr. Speaker, is what is the actual acreage of the parcel of land allocated to Muthaiga Primary School in Loisabu constituency? Question 2, under what circumstances did the Muthaiga Golf Club hive off parcel of the land meant for Muthaiga Primary School? Number 3, could the Cabinet Secretary explain why and in what circumstances the school's teachers' quarters houses were allocated to private developers who have since built some houses on it? And finally, Mr. Speaker, when will the ministry issue a title deed to the school as originally intended and revoke any leases and subtitles that may have arisen thereafter. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Question referred to the Departmental Committee on Lands. Next, the Honorable statement by Gideon Keter. The Honorable Gideon Keter. Member absent, not desiring to be present. The next one is by the Honorable Ken Chonga, member for Kilifi South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order number 44, subsection 2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Education and Research on the use of the chemical xylene in the recent KCSE chemistry practical exam and the resultant injuries to the students and teachers. Mr. Speaker, with each day passing, new evidence emerges indicating that teachers and students suffered extensive injuries from fumes and explosions from the chemical xylene, which was used as an organic solvent in chemistry paper number 3. A student from Barina Secondary School in Nakuru County passed away from the injuries sustained during the xylene incidents, while 2 teachers and students from Trans Nzoia, Nyeri, Kilifi County, and Embu counties are currently admitted in various hospitals nursing injuries. This paints the picture of a disturbing trend further. This chemical appears to have been bought in the last minute, allegedly at exorbitant prices, by the Kenya National Examination Council, that is KNEC, officials due to dwindling stocks of the cyclohexane, the NEC-approved organic solvent for the chemistry practical exams. Honorable Speaker, therefore, it is against this background that I seek a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Education and Research on the following. 1, could the Minister of Education provide details on the number of injuries and deaths as a result of the use of this chemical? 2, why did the ministry use xylene instead of the approved cyclohexane, yet it appears to be poisonous, cause side effects that are harmful to one's health, and expensive given that there are other cheaper, safer alternatives in the market or practical options? 3, what specific interventions is the Ministry of Education taking to address the ongoing challenges arising from the use of this chemical? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Question goes to the statement to be given by the Chair, Education Committee. Chair, Education Committee, any indication as to when to respond? The Vice Chair, Honorable Makoha, member for Matayos, please come in, step in to assist.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to probably inform you that both the Chair and the Vice Chair are out of the country on official duties. And for that matter, we shall pass on the question when they come back at the end of the week. They should be in over the weekend. Then they will get the information. But as it has been mentioned by the Honorable Member, the issue that he has raised is so grievous and so disturbing to all Kenyans that Kenyans require the responses as soon as practically possible. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
And being a member of the committee, you will ensure that the statement is brought as soon as possible also.
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Next request is by the chairperson. No. For the second time, the Honorable Gideon Keter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to request a statement considering the special interest group and award tender that happened in JKIA, that Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order number 44, Section 2C, I wish to request for a statement from the Chairperson of Departmental Committee on Transport, Public Works and Housing regarding the award of a tender for provision of taxi services at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport by the Kenya Airports Authority. Honorable Speaker, in February 2019, the Kenya Airport Authority advertised for the provision of taxi services at JKIA, inviting both general and special group categories. For the following this advertisement, a total of 10 taxi companies under the special category submitted their bid for the tender number KAA-OT/JKIA 1465/2018-2019. However, the tendering process was terminated prematurely for the special group category. Honorable Speaker, it's against this background that I seek a statement from the Chairperson of the Department Committee on Transport, Public Works and Housing. In his statement, the Chair should inform the House.
The supplementary budget estimates already tabled. As Speaker, in the committee where we are, there was this concern which persistently keeps coming, that of what use are we engaging with the papers when ultimately the Budget and Appropriations Committee will meet these agencies and also do their work. I was thinking, Mr. Speaker, there is need for clarity on this matter, so that at least in as much as you are directed before that there would be engagement, the departmental committee is not to be seen to be acting in vain or disillusioned. Get clarity from the chair to the effect, Mr. Speaker, that if the Budget and Appropriations Committee is going to interfere with their views of the estimates, which I believe are essential because these are the committees that understand the needs of the various sectors under their charge, and there should be some level of consultation. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I would confirm to you the membership is very bothered about proceeding in as much as we are incurring, resources and facilities of Parliament in the exercise. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Does it require debate? Chair of Budget, you want to?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. To begin with, Honorable Speaker, one, I'm aware there is an issue that the Honorable Peter Kaluma raised on the judiciary budget, and which we did commit that we would respond to. Unfortunately, Honorable Speaker, the matter seems to have been overtaken by time, and with the tabling of the supplementary estimates, and also a confirmation from the National Treasury, and also the judiciary, Honorable Speaker, that the cuts that had been effected through the IFMI system had since been reversed. However, Honorable Speaker, as the Honorable Peter Kaluma says, some of those cuts that had been proposed or had been effected through the IFMI system have since been proposed in the supplementary budget, which ideally is the right procedure, Mr. Speaker, that any proposed cuts, Honorable Speaker, if you can protect me from the minority leader, I don't know what is rejecting what I'm saying or what he's rejecting, Honorable Speaker.
Give him time.
I was saying, Honorable Speaker, let me just look at the Speaker and ignore the minority leader, Honorable Speaker. That one, procedurally, Honorable Speaker, the National Treasury ought not to have effected any cuts in the budget as was proposed in the appropriations, propose or recommend, but we do what we do in consultation as is required by our standing orders and the Constitution, Chapter 12 of our Constitution, in consultation with the National Treasury, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, we will consider all the proposals that will come from the departmental committees, and also, of course, Honorable Speaker, in line with what I've said, in consultation with the National Treasury. And I want to confirm that we had a meeting also this morning as a budget, an opportunity once, I think last year, Honorable Speaker, and this year we never had that opportunity, but in the last financial year, 2018-2019, we had an opportunity through the Deputy Speaker and the liaison committee to get back and brief the chairs of the committees on what we have done. I think it's also a question also of the timelines that we have. If we have an opportunity, Honorable Speaker, before tabling of the report or before debate, to also be able through the liaison committee to brief chairs of the committees, because we have no other forum, Honorable Speaker, to be able to get back to the departmental committees. We should be able to sit with the departmental committee chairs and brief them. Honorable Speaker, I was going to also liaise with you and the clerk's office in the meeting that we have invited the Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury, and his team. We did propose this morning that we also invite chairs of committees so that they are part and parcel of the engagement that we have with the National Treasury. So even as they sit as departmental committees, we, Honorable Speaker, Honorable John Buddy is shouting and distracting me. Honorable Speaker, we want a very consultative process in this budget-making process for the supplementary budget, and therefore we have proposed, Honorable Speaker, with your permission, that you allow and the chairs of committees, and we are aware that they might also be busy, but we had indicated we will invite those who will be able to attend, those who are not able to attend to send their vice chairs or a member of the committee to be represented in that engagement with the National Treasury. And I think it will help in creating a very consultative process so that at the end of the day, the product we have is a product that will be owned by the entire House, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The date has already been announced. And the problem is, you must be having problems with your ears, Honorable Nasir.
Mr. Speaker, just a clarification from what the Honorable Abdul Samad is asking. Yes. Let me emphasize it is chairs of departmental committees, not chairs of select committees like PIC and PAC.
Well, I think the invitation is made, chairs of committees, those that may be busy, because I know some have already also scheduled meetings with their ministries and other departments, maybe on the same date. But I'm sure you can be able to get a member of your committee to attend at that meeting. It is important. If you are busy with the ministries and departments on Tuesday, please ensure that at least one of you, any of you, represents you at that meeting, so that whatever discussions, whatever the National Treasury is saying, remember they came here saying that they were going to have deficit, which they promised they were going to finance through borrowing. Then later they claimed that they had hit a debt ceiling. Then came to the House for that ceiling to be lifted, which I think you did. But the net effect has been the budgets of the Judiciary and Parliamentary Service Commission are the ones that have been proposed for reductions. No, don't ask, please. You will. I'm sure the Constitution is very clear, but you are the ones who will make the decision. You are the ones who will make the decision, Honorable Murugara. Or you wanted to inform members because I think they form a substantial quorum. Maybe Honorable Murugara can inform the House.
Mr. Speaker, this House should actually not be engaged in committing illegalities, because the Constitution is quite clear, especially on the judiciary. Once it's Article 173 of the Constitution, once the registrar presents estimates to this House, and this House approves those estimates, the funds so approved are moved from the consolidated fund to the judiciary fund. So once that is done, those funds are not available for cuts. In fact, there is no way the funds are already moved. So the only thing this house can do is to enhance and not to cut. So this morning, as the presentations were being made to us, we were shocked that we were proposing cuts to a fund that under the Constitution cannot be cut. So we will be urging the House that we should actually not agree to any cuts for the judiciary because they are protected by the Constitution.
Well, I hope we also understand the model of funding of various agencies, even after the passage of the Appropriations Act. I wish there was a way that there are several baskets, so that then, like you'd go harvesting mangoes, once you put them into some particular basket, they remain into that basket until they are exhausted. But it looks like maybe the model of funding is different. Things just trickle down into the baskets, and they get exhausted as soon as they land in the basket. But of course, you'll have the opportunity to discuss those matters. What is provided for in 223 vis-a-vis the budget the budget estimates as presented under 221. So you just have to look at the two of them. Why do I clarify now? What is it? Now, you know, there's nothing we are prosecuting. And now the other point raised by the Honorable Kaluma is getting lost in the meantime. Proceed.
I'm seeking clarification. Does the Treasury have power to meddle about with Parliamentary Service Commission budget? Yes. According to the law? And give me that provision in the law which says, I'm asking my chairman, the chairman of the Parliamentary Service Commission.
Well, the Parliamentary Service Commission has many committees of itself. So there is a chairperson or chairman of a finance committee of the commission, and his name is, and he's a ranking member. If he were here, I'm sure he would be also shouting and standing like you're doing. The Honorable Welie Keinan. So, and I'm sure he will be appearing before the Budget and Appropriations Committee. I suspect he is going to tag you along because you know you have come from far together. That can be canvassed then. But the point raised by, there's a point by the Honorable Kaluma about the question he raised on education. And as you notice, Honorable Kaluma, both the chair and the vice chair are absent. And the ranking member who is holding brief for them, the honorable member for Matayos, Makoha. Which is good. This is good.
Thank you, Chair. I want to confirm to this House that indeed Honorable Peter Opondo Kaluma's question reached the committee. We did communicate with the Teacher Service Commission. They brought a report which, in the wisdom of the committee, was not satisfactory enough because it lacked very pertinent information. It was just a list of some teachers with remarks that one had been interdicted, another one had been dismissed without sufficient reasons for the same, and also